Okay, guys, we're going to do one of my favoriteest things in the whole wide world. We're going to play with clay. Oh, yes, this is one of my favoriteest things. I spent lots and lots of time in the clay studio during my college years, and I have become very, very familiar with this stuff right here. Looks kind of like Play-Doh, but it's very, very different. Okay, very different than Play-Doh, and I'll show you how here in just a minute. First off, we have our clay. You need that. You're going to have a pencil. You're going to need that, and we're going to have a cookie cutter because we're going to make cookie cutter Christmas ornaments. Now, if you don't do Christmas, that's okay. I have lots of other things in the basket that don't necessarily have to do with Christmas. If you're a football player, you can make a football helmet. If you like rubber duckies, you can make a rubber ducky. If you like stars, yes, they use stars during Christmas, but stars don't necessarily have to be a holiday Christmas thing. I have a choo 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 choo. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. You can use this if you want. Now, of course, you know, you've heard of the Polar Express, and that's kind of like a holiday Christmas movie, but you don't have to use the choo-choo train for Christmas if you don't want to. So it's kind of up to you. If you want to use them as a Christmas ornament, you can. If you don't want to use them as a Christmas ornament, you don't have to. You can use them as a paperweight. You can put them, hey, you can put them in the car on your mom's or your dad's rear view mirror. Hang it up there and you can see it every day when they drive you somewhere. That would be awesome. Anyway, we're here to make the ornament. So let me show you what you're going to do first. First, we're going to grab this clay and we're going to pound it out. Pound it out. Pound it out. And I do have to say, I want you to work on top of this canvas. This is going to keep your clay from sticking to that table surface. That's a very sticky surface for clay. And if it sticks, it'll be very awful because you're going to have to scrape your clay off of the table and you're going to ruin your ornament. So please work on top of the canvas that I provide. Okay, we're going to pound it out, make it as flat as you can. Notice that I'm still picking it up and making sure that it don't stick to the canvas, because it will stick to the canvas as well. So you want to flatten it out, pick it up every so often, make sure that it's not sticking to the canvas. And when you think you got it big enough for the ornament that you want to make, because some ornaments are different sizes, make sure that it's big enough that it fits. Does that fit? Yeah, that fits. Position it how you want it. Now let me show you something. This side is the cutting side. You see that? Because it is nice and sharp. Not sharp enough to cut your hands, but sharp enough to cut through the clay. This side is not the cutting side. This side is so your hands will be comfortable while it's pushing it through the clay. So you want to put your cookie cutter that way with the cutting side down like that. All right, now once that happens, you press down into it, kind of make sure that it went all the way through. Cut it down. There we go. Now before you try to take it out, a couple of things I want you to do first. I want you to peel the excess clay from around the sides. And if you cut through it good enough, it will come off just that easily. All right, now this is your extra clay. We're going to sit this to the side for a minute. Okay, this of course is your ornament, but as you can see, it's kind of, oh, it popped out. That normally doesn't happen, but since it popped out, I'm going to show you what normally happens. So I'm going to put that back in there. It normally doesn't pop out, and if yours does pop out, then great. But if it doesn't, I'm going to show you how to get it out. Okay, but before we get it out, I do want you to put the hole in the top. I like to use the pencil, and I like to drill a hole in the top. Zzz, and I turn it over on the back to see if the hole go all the way through. And it usually does, but You may want to make it a little bit bigger. Now you kind of can see straight through that, and that's kind of what you want. You want to be able to see straight through it. Okay. Also, while it's in here, go ahead and scratch your initials in it. You can turn over on the back. Now this is big enough, and you know I don't have very many letters in my name. I just write M-R-P like that, and everybody knows that that's Mr. P. I put my little periods there. Now some of you might have really long names, so please, if you have a really long name, just scratch your initials in the bottom of it, somewhere in the bottom. Now notice I didn't press hard enough with the pencil for it to come through on the other side. You can't see any letters on that side, can you? Sure cannot, because I did not go all the way through the clay. All you want to do is on the surface, very lightly, scratch your initials on the surface like that. All right. Now, to get it out, if yours doesn't just come out when you shake it, what you want to do is press along the sides. Use your finger, press along the sides, because that's usually where it sticks, right along the sides, and you'll see it popping out. See how it's popping out? See that? That's kind of what you want to have happen. Now be very careful, because once it starts popping out, it comes right out really easily. If you got to go along the edges a little bit more, you can do that, because some areas are a little easier for it to pop out than others. All right, now we got it out. Okay, it's all done, and it's all ready to be dried and fired in the kiln. K-I-L-N. That's that big silver thing over there in the back of the room. I give you another video showing you about that there in just a little bit. But here is your clay. Now it's still very delicate, because it can move and bend and flex, but we don't want that. We want it to stay just as nice and pretty as it is now. So don't handle it too much, guys. Don't handle it. Once you got it out of your cookie cutter, call me and I will come and get it. Okay? I will come and get it. Then after I get it, you have this extra clay that you can play with a little bit. You can make different things out of it. You're going to end up leaving this clay with me. This is your extra clay. This is not to make a second ornament. This is what you're going to leave with me. This is what you're going to have for your ornament. We're going to let this dry. Then after it dries, we're going to fire it. And then it comes out looking like this after you put it in the kiln. And basically the kiln just cooks it. It cooks it like to 3,000 degrees. And I want you to hear something. Listen to this. This is another one that's been fired. Listen to the sound that you get. Isn't that awesome? It sounds like glass. I think that's the awesomest thing ever. It goes from this to this to this. Okay guys, this is the kiln. This is what cooks the clay. Now I want you to look down in here. I have your ornaments in here. See that? I have your ornaments down in there. This is where they go to get fired. Okay, let me explain what you're looking at. Of course, each one of these stacks are going to be classes, and you have to kind of be careful when you're putting the clay in here. It has to be totally dry. Totally dry. That's very important. And you have to kind of be careful when you stack them, when you lay them in here, because this is its most fragile state. When it's totally dry and you're handling them, you must be very, very careful. It can very easily break when it's at this state, totally bone dry. Okay, I have these little name tags here that I use. This one says 2011 Graves. So this stack right here would be Miss Graves' class. And I have those to help me keep track of whose ornaments these are. Also, these things right here, I know you was wondering where that was. It's called kiln furniture. It helps me put another layer. Well, let me just show you. I'm gonna put you down for a minute, and I'm gonna show you what happens here. Let's see. Now I have those things in special locations around the kiln, and I show you what I do. I put another one of these shelves down like this, and I sit it on top of the little furniture things, the little stilts. These things hold this shelf in place so that now I can add more ornaments on this shelf. Okay? That's awesome. That is so awesome. Okay, that's what we're going to do today, guys. I'm going to let you guys have the rest of the time to finish it up. All right? I want you now to go and have fun.